Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Let's open the box up and I'll show you the contents inside. Here are some of the plastic parts, the plastic axles. There's the tires, the main body. Love the color of this truck. This is the bed of the truck. And the servo. This is the upgraded motor, the 2-gear motor, 370 I think. And here are the metal axles that I have to put together. I upgraded with the kit. And here's the upgraded motherboard, ESC, and the controller. The kit also came with some tire weights, which is really cool. Okay, so really important things to look at when putting these axles together is knowing where the placement is. Here I'm pointing out the bad spot to put it in, the wrong location. So I just flip it over and put it in the correct position. Now those little indentions on the rod is where the grub screws go, and your gears and your bearings. Now keep in mind, this is my first time I've ever put this together, so it was a learning curve. I had to take it back apart several times to get it right. But the most important thing here you want to keep in mind is that there's no slack in between the gearing and the bearings. So when you spin it or move it back and forth, there should be no space or no give and no slack. And make sure the bearings are in the right seated location. Now the kit comes with a Loctite, a little bottle of Loctite you can use, and I've highly advised using this on your grub screws and some other screws that are very load bearing. Now I put this on the gear and had to remove it later because it slipped on me. But you still have time for it to dry before it sets. Okay, so I had to redo this several times to get the bearings correct, and also the slack out, and make sure the components are correct on the back axle. So don't forget to put all the bearings in and seated properly. Now at this point you can go ahead and spin the axle if you want to see if it's correct. And like right here on the end, all you have to do is undo the grub screw and adjust the axle rod and move it over. Just get it centered in the correct placement. And then tighten your grub screw down, and at this point you can go ahead and use the Loctite once you get it in the correct position.
Yeah, ที่ป้าซื้อมาที่แล้วของยี่ห้อนี้แต่เหนียวเหนียว เ วันนี้กางเกงในเซ็กซี่ไม่ต้องใส่แล้วนะ
พ่อ removing
ไอ้นี่ป้าหลุดนี่ฟิล์มอ่ะ
Now I just making sure that everything fits properly at this point. Make sure there's no slack. And here I'm putting the one of the last bearings on, the differential gear. And the other bearing that fits on the front of that.
จะหยิบใส่มีสอง
อันเนี้ยพาดง่ายนะ
เนี่ย
เอาป้าใส่ไป
เออ
ดูสิ
เจ๊ป่ะนะ
As you can see, I forgot to seat the bearing properly, but I'm just checking to see if there's any grinding noises, which there are. And to fix this, you can add more gaskets to the differential pumpkin plate there. And here you want to go ahead and remove the paint, the factory paint. This just allows you to seat the pumpkin on better. So you can take one of the couplings and push the bearing down to seat it properly, which I did. So this is where you can hear a lot of grinding noises. And you just play it by ear, basically. You just keep on adding more gaskets to it. I eventually used 3 gaskets, which stopped all the grinding noises. So I'm putting the drive shafts together, and it's okay to do it this way, and I probably advise it doing this way. Just don't put the couplings attached to the actual the back axle, the front axle, or the gearing of the gearbox, because it's more difficult to put on, I guess you could say. So I had to take it off, put it back on. It was a nightmare, but it's a learning curve. So I can't really show you guys how to do this. You just kind of have to figure it out. Putting these O-rings or these metal clips on was quite simple, actually. Just slide it over the coupling and pull it down, and it locks the drive shaft into place so it doesn't come out. Okay, this project is almost complete. I'm just showing you the chassis, and from here I'm going to add the axles on, the front and back. There is no correct positioning for the positive and negative wires, which is the red and black. Just solder them on, and you'll be fine. Just make sure that the positive and negative is correct on the board. Now, one thing to mention here, I took the jumper off the front of the board and put it on the power on and off switch port. This just jumps it so I don't have to use the actual on and off switch. I took it off the front of the board, which was right under there, and that's just for if you have two cars operating off the same transmitter. So, which I don't. So I took the jumper off and put it on the on and off switch post. This just eliminates the cord and the wiring for the switch. Okay.